Welcome back to another 40th anniversary posting of my G.I. Joe collection. For the past few months, I've been posting these daily on my social media. This is a compilation of my Series 5 figures and vehicles. These figures are in varying states and some have a lot of wear and tear on them, some also have their accessories and some do not. With all that being said, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and by all means leave some stories in the comments if you had some of these figures. Thank you and enjoy. Here is Cobra Android Trooper, codename B.A.T.S, part of Series 5 from 1986. This figure is one of my favorites of all time, hands down. This one is my original. As you can see, I still have all his accessories. I wasn't about to lose a single piece of this figure. I played with this figure constantly, and he wrecked many a Joe in my battles. I also got a few others from other people in varying states without any accessories, but this guy will go down in my top 5 G.I. Joes of all time. I also bought one of the new 6-inch B.A.T.s, and maybe I'll do a video unboxing that when I take him out of his package. Here is Ranger, codename Beachhead, part of Series 5 from 1986. This is not my original, mine fell apart long ago. I got this from a friend, and as we see, he was well played with and lost an arm in one of his battles. He's seen better days, but it's always great to have Beachhead back in my collection. Here is Communications, codename Dial Tone, part of Series 5 from 1986. I got this figure as a Secret Santa gift the year it came out. Funny enough, I ended up buying the same exact figure to give to somebody during that same Secret Santa exchange. So it seems Dial Tone was meant to be part of my collection. I really like this figure, and I thought his backpack was way cooler than most of the other Joe's backpacks that they came with. I have all his accessories, so this is a complete figure, and he brings back great memories.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.
Here is G.I. Joe Commander, codename Hawk, part of Series 5 from 1986. Not part of my original collection. Hawk really never did it for me as a character, and I never purchased him. He came to me as part of an auction, and also had his field pack, but that's about it. The figure has a broken crotch piece, but that was a pretty standard issue break for a lot of these toys. Other than that, he's in pretty good condition. Here is Battle Station, codename Outpost Defender, part of Series 5 from 1986. I don't remember seeing these in the store, but I did know they exist because kids in the neighborhood had one. I got this as part of that auction, and I had to reassemble it and figure out what it was. And it's a cool little outpost to have during a battle. Looking back, I kind of wish I had this growing up. Here is Rescue Trooper, codename Lifeline, part of Series 5 from 1986. Here is another Joe that I stupidly slept on. As a kid, I didn't want to play with the medic. I loved Lifeline in the cartoon. I don't know why I didn't want to have him as a toy. Apparently I was an idiot as a child. A friend gave this to me years ago, and fortunately he still had his rescue case that came along with him. Now as an adult, I can appreciate having Lifeline as part of my collection. He's still a pretty awesome figure.
Now back to G.I. Joe.
Here is Computer Specialist, codename Mainframe, part of Series 5 from 1986. This was a Joe that I slept on, and I never got my hands on one. I knew a bunch of people who had them, and I always wanted one as part of my collection. A friend gave this to me. Fortunately, he still had his backpack, but did not have the computer anymore. He is still in really good condition, and a welcome addition to my collection. Here is Dreadnought, codename Monkey Wrench, part of Series 5 from 1986. I got him as part of an auction, and he is in great condition, and also came with his harpoon gun. He did not come with a backpack, so this is a complete figure. The Dreadnoughts were fun in the cartoon, but I never bought any of them as a kid. But now I have one, and I also have their vehicle, which will be coming tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. Here is Dreadnought Vehicle, codename Thunder Machine, part of Series 5 from 1986. I was never a huge fan of the Dreadnoughts other than in the cartoon. I never bought any of the figures. I always saw this toy on the shelf, but I never grabbed it. A friend of mine was looking over my collection before I started undertaking this project. He was very excited that I had the Thunder Machine. He was reminiscing when he got it for Christmas one year. I hope this brings back some memories for some people. It's missing some components, it was well played with, but at least now Monkey Wrench has a vehicle to drive around in. Here is Cobra Stun Driver, codename Motor Viper, part of Series 5 from 1986. I never had the Cobra Stun growing up, but it was one that I always wanted. So, unfortunately, I never got this figure. I know kids who had them, so I was always able to use theirs. However, this came to me as part of an auction with the Cobra Stun, and I will be putting that out tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.
Here is Cobra Vehicle, codename Cobra Stun, part of Series 5 from 1986. This was always one that I wanted growing up. I knew kids who had it, but for some reason I never bought one, or they weren't available. Thankfully, eBay became a thing, and I got this as part of an auction. It is well played with, so it is missing a few components. It's still in decent condition, and it still does what it's supposed to do, so I get to have a Cobra Stun in my collection. Here is Laser Trooper, codename Sci-Fi, part of Series 5 from 1986. This guy was also on the top of my list of favorite Joes to play with. I don't know if it was the lime green, or the helmet, or a combination of all of it, but I played with this guy constantly. He went with me everywhere, and it definitely shows, because it was very hard to get him to stand up because his knee joints are very loose. This is my original, and I have all the accessories. It's been so long, I don't even remember Sci-Fi being in the show. However, even if he wasn't, this toy was awesome, and I chose him 9 times out of 10 to play with. Here is Cobra Emperor, codename Serpentor, part of Series 5 from 1986. This is not my original Serpentor. Mine is MIA, which is very rare for me as a child. I made sure to keep real good track of my toys and their accessories. This came to me from a friend, and he only had the headdress that clipped into the backpack slot. Unfortunately, he didn't have the cape or the snake or the dagger that went along with him. I do have his air chariot, and that will be coming tomorrow, so keep an eye out for it. Here is Emperor Serpentor's vehicle, codename Air Chariot, part of Series 5 from 1986. I definitely had this growing up, but this is not my original. I don't know where mine went to. This came to me as part of an auction and is missing a few pieces, so it's quite incomplete. This is supposed to have a snake head right on the front, but I don't ever remember it having. Clearly I had lost mine within hours of getting it. Even though it's incomplete, it's nice to have Serpentor being able to ride his chariot once again.
Now, back to G.I. Joe.
Here is G.I. Joe vehicle, codename Devilfish, part of Series 5 from 1986. I kind of forgot about this vehicle. It wasn't packaged with any driver, and it was just one of the additional vehicles that you could buy. I don't think I ever had one. A friend gave this to me, and as children do, lost all of the attachable components. But other than that, it's still in decent condition. And now I have something for any of the SEAL team to ride around in. Here is Drill Instructor, codename Sergeant Slaughter, part of Series 5 from 1986. This figure was packaged as part of the Triple T tank that came out the same year. There was also a mail-in version that had red wristbands. I never had Sergeant Slaughter in my collection, I was a fan of him as a wrestler back in the day. I'm very happy to have him as part of my collection now. Here is Conquest X-30 Pilot, codename Slipstream, part of Series 5 from 1986. This was packaged with the Conquest X-30 fighter jet that had the wings that pointed forward. I always thought that jet was super awesome, but never had it as a child, so I never had this figure. This came to me from the friend who also has the aircraft carrier, because if you have an aircraft carrier, you need to have something to land on it, so why wouldn't you have a jet? I don't think he has the jet anymore, but now I have Slipstream as part of my collection. Here is Seals, codename Wetsuit, part of Series 5 from 1986. Wetsuit is one of my top 5 favorite G.I. Joes of all time, hands down. I used to play with him in the tub or any bodies of water, and time took its toll and his rubber band finally broke. When trying to take him apart, everything broke, and ultimately it was unrepairable. So unfortunately I lost one of my favorite Joes. However, I just won an auction last weekend, and I got a brand new one. He needed a new rubber band, but thankfully I was able to take him apart and replace the band, and get Wetsuit back up on his feet again. Here is Zartan's brother, codename Zandar, part of Series 5 from 1986. This is one from my original collection, but I don't think I ever bought this figure. I think someone either left it at my house or gave it to me as a child, because I don't have any of his accessories, and I wouldn't have normally bought Zartan's brother without buying Zartan first. He was well played with, as you can see, whether it was by me or by somebody else. He is a pretty cool figure, and I'm happy to have him as part of my collection.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.